Built in 1870, Ashmore Estates served as the Coles County, Illinois poor farm for almost 100 years, seeing much death, including that of Elva Skinner in 1980. Elva was a young girl who died when her dress caught fire while standing too close to a candle getting ready in the morning. In 1960, the facility was transformed into a psychiatric hospital, and its doors finally closed in 1986. Ashmore Estates was ravaged by fire, storms, and vandalism until in 2015, Robin and Norma Terry bought the property and are working on restoring it while opening its doors for paranormal investigations.
What's up? I'm Shannon.
And I'm Aimee.
And we are Apex Paranormal here in Ashmore, Illinois to investigate the infamous Ashmore Estates. And one of the biggest claims they have here at Ashmore Estates are shadow figures. So one of our goals is to capture one of these shadow figures on film.
This building was once a mental asylum, so tonight we are here with 3 girls in the dark. We have Jeff, Ryan, and Gina with us tonight. Let's go inside and meet Hannah, the caretaker.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Shannon. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you guys. Welcome back to my state.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe you can take us on a tour and show us some of the more active parts of Ashmore Estates.
So a lot of people ask me for hotspots. I can't actually give hotspots because the whole building is active. We can definitely hit some of the high points and give a little history and we'll be good to go.
Sure.
This is the men's dining room. We had one men's dining room for the poor farm era. Everything would have been separated by gender. Claims in here is everything from shadows. I personally see a lot of shadow movement in here. I've watched shadows walk to me. I've walked into a couple of shadows, which is never fun. We also get a lot of get out, swearing, no, get out, run. But that's usually late at night.
So this is the boiler room. So tell us a little bit about this area.
So we do get a lot of reports of a shadow down here. We get a lot of reports of people who think that they've seen Joe down here.
Did you just say something?
Did you whisper something?
Nope.
I just heard a male voice. Did he say hey or something? Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll just stand next to Matilda.
Yeah, she don't mind. So yeah, this is our ladies' dining room. It would have been women and children, so it's a little bit larger.
Then the whole shadow figure theme, is this another area that's pretty prominent with them? Yes.
So this area is pretty prominent with shadow figures. It does happen occasionally that you'll see the cafeteria line. I mean, that's something my team had happen, is we would watch shadows come in through here and walk down this hall, and 3 of us being moms, when one of them turned, you caught whites of eyes and it rushed them. And all 3 of them went, oh no.
Oh my gosh.
Mom reaction.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And again, so we are standing at the 2nd floor nurses station. This would have been an addition in the 70s. It would have been added for the developmentally disabled home or the psychiatric hospital. We're not sure which, probably the latter. But this is the nurses station with the medication rooms and the nurses bathroom behind it, and it leads to our right to Mary Margaret's room, to our left to a day room, and then down to the rest of the floor to our further left, I guess. And I've actually seen a shadow figure of a little girl, or what I think is a little girl, peeking just like this, looking down the hallway.
Wow. Explain a little bit about Robin's Nest. This used to be a residence room?
This used to be 2 patient rooms.
Okay.
Robin took a wall out that was already damaged and repainted everything, and this is modeled after a 30s and 40s caretaker's room.
Okay.
It's off one of our porches, which is the 3GD porch. It's a very, very pretty room. I love this room. I love everything that's in here. It's very comfy to me, but it can be a little active.
And now what kind of things happen in this room? Because it's set up fairly well. I mean, you've got the bed, really dresser, and everything.
Absolutely. So people don't stay the night in this room typically, but they do a lot of investigating in here. We have gotten a ton of EVPs. They've gotten shadows that peek their head in, which is very common in this building. You get a lot of the peek,
okay,
as I call it. You get a lot of that. We had the experience with the Irish gentleman. Again, I was standing at this, like right here, and I was ready to run. I was like, I am about to be in a bar fight. I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And Dan, the other gentleman who was live listening, was sitting here. The other guy was here, and he was physically shaking.
Wow.
And he's a big, tough guy, not fazed by anything else that had happened, and they'd seen several shadows that night, but it shook me. It really shook me.
Yeah.
This actually would have been 2 patient areas, 2 patient rooms on the new side of the building. We brought in a piano with the haunted house, and we've kept it, A, because that thing is heavy, and B, because we've gotten a lot of activity off of it. I personally have heard that piano play on its own when I was doing a tour. Told my group to wait upstairs, came down, and there was something standing at that piano, and you heard a couple more notes, and then it was gone.
Wow. The next floor, I guess the only other floor we have left is 3rd floor, where you said that there is some pretty heavy shadow movement up there.
There's a lot of heavy shadow movement. There can be a lot of, it feels like an elephant sitting on your chest when you walk up there, and it can be really intense. It can be a very foreboding place to go.
Okay.
I don't think it's evil.
Okay, so you were telling us about Monkey Man, and
So-
the camera turned off.
The camera did turn off. That's something that
The
happens a lot.
battery didn't die, it turned off.
Yep.
Okay.
So the reason we know a little bit about him is I actually got to speak with a nurse who worked here in the 70s. She's in her 90s now. She couldn't remember his name, but the names we keep getting out of here are Ed and Edward.
Okay.
And we actually caught a photo in the windows of this room of someone who was very, very misshapen on one side. And we tried for about 6 hours to recreate that, and we couldn't.
Well, that's great. Well, so we've gone through the entire building.
Yeah.
This place is amazing, and just in 30 minutes, we have already had people talking to us. We've felt
It's gonna be a good
anything
night.
and everything. Yeah, it's going to be an amazing night. Thank you so much for providing this tour and for the information. It was great
Absolutely.
meeting you, and
Thank you so
we
much.
definitely look forward to the investigation tonight.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what you guys find.
Yeah. Thanks so much,
No
Hannah.
problem. Thank you guys.
We are here with Robin, the owner of Ashmore Estates. We are actually in the big bunker. What was your first paranormal experience in the building?
Probably the first one was, it was in May of 2014. I was up on the 3rd floor, and like I said, I'm not sensitive at all, but there was something that was, I was hooking up electrical that day, and it was probably around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and something kept telling me that I need to leave. And it was like getting stronger and stronger. I could feel it emotionally, and like I said, I don't get that.
Right.
And I've done a lot of investigations. Probably before I bought Ashmore, I probably done like 250 investigations,
Wow.
and I never had that experience at all.
Yeah.
And it kept telling me to leave, and so finally I just kind of set my tools down and said, if you guys are having a party and I'm not invited, I'll leave, that's fine. And that's exactly what I said. And I turned around and walked out, and I called my wife, and I said I was going down to Menards to pick up some material, and she's like, it's 2:30, what are you doing at 2? Because I'd never leave at the middle of the afternoon to go
Yeah.
stuff. And I said, there's something in the building that doesn't want me there.
Can you kind of talk about the activity in the building when it comes to shadow figures?
But
Yeah.
the shadow figures from people that I've talked to, and it's kind of curious because it's weird that when we put on Children of the Grave 2, which was shot by the Booth brothers here, they shot part of it here, and when we put that on, it's been weird that activity has picked up, and they've when we've done that, they've looked down the hallways and they've seen shadow figures walking back and forth across the hallway.
Wow.
And we've actually had it happen numerous times. And in fact, 2 guys that were not really getting along real well at one point saw identically the same thing, different months and everything.
Thanks for spending some time with us. We're really excited to get back in there. And of course, if anything crazy happens, we'll definitely report back and let you know.
Yeah, let me know. I'm glad you guys came out tonight, and hope you guys had a good time with things. And hope this stuff inside happens right now and get you guys all worked up and excited to go with things.
Right.
Thank you.
Sure.
After finishing our tour, we set up cameras and recorders throughout the building and left for dinner. Here's what we caught while no one was around. Once we returned from dinner, we collected our recorders and gathered in the stairway to introduce ourselves to the spirits of Ashmore. We then split up throughout the location and conducted quiet time. We caught one clip on Aimee's recorder on the second floor. Here it is.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that was me.
Having set our goal for this investigation centered around shadow figures, our next session, we sent all of the boys up to the third floor armed with laser grids. During their time on the third floor, they caught no anomalies, but did catch this one voice. For our next session, we decided to go all out. We placed a big laser grid on the second floor hallway and pumped the hall full of fog. On the third floor, we had two investigators argue to see if creating negative energy would make the shadow figures manifest. However, we had no luck. We then sent the entire group back to Nerve Center, while Shannon and Elijah stayed back on the third floor. Our investigator Ed got on the PA system and began to make announcements similar to what may have been made when Ashmore operated as a psychiatric facility. During this time, we caught one clip. Here it is. Did you just say something? Did you just say something? Not having much luck with shadow figures or activity in general, we decided to switch things up. Shawn and Elijah posted up in the women's kitchen while the rest of the group remained in Nerve Center. We then tried an experiment suggested by Ashmore's owner, Robin. One male, Ed, asked a series of questions to see if it would elicit activity. Then a female, Gina, asked the same exact set of questions to compare whether male or female would create different activity within the estates. Halfway through the experiment, Elijah headed back to Nerve Center and Shawn and Aimee headed to the boiler room. Here are the clips we caught during this session.
Dad was like, I can't read that. He pulled us straight on the whole bed and we want me. I can't read these comments. Dad was like, I can't read that. He pulled us straight on the whole bed and we want me. I can't read these comments.
For the final session of the night, we decided to put the equipment away and headed up as a group to the third floor with just recorders. During this session, several members of our group finally experienced shadow figures walking in the hall and on the far side of the room. During this session, we also caught one voice. Here it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've seen it full on dark past there. Gina, was that you?
What?
A little cough sound?
Oh, that was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've seen it full on dark past there. Gina, was that you?
What?
A little cough sound?
Oh, that was.
Ashmore Estates proved to be an amazing location, with a welcoming owner and an incredible tour guide. While our experiments did not yield much shadow activity, we had an incredible investigation, caught some great evidence, and can't wait to get back there again.
Fantastic!